So I feel like I don't come on here and talk anymore, and I really wanted to tell my birthing story because I saw the girl that just had the baby. I feel like I should know her name. I really don't. I'm so sorry. But she just had a son and named him Pony. And she was telling her birthing story, and I was like, I don't think I ever did. And my birthing story is crazy. Like, my daughter almost died at the expense of medical malpractice. I was in labor for 7 days, and I did not know. It started off... Okay, so first off, this is going to be really TMI. But basically, it started on Father's Day, and I feel like I jinxed it, honestly, because I made a joke to her dad, and I was like, what if she came today, and you became a dad today? Because I kept telling him Happy Father's Day, and he was like, I'm not a dad yet. I was like, but you are, so what if she came today? Then would you feel that way? I was just irritated and pregnant. I don't know. I was probably going on a tangent, to be honest. But basically, when this happened, I was 35 weeks, about to be 36 weeks. So she was premature. But it was Father's Day. I made my little joke in the morning. We did our festivities, And then it was like it was like the afternoon. It was probably like 5 o'clock. And he wanted to watch, at the time, the new Fast and Furious 7. And I'll never forget it because of this. He was really excited. He wanted to watch it. I was really tired. I was like, you know what? You watch it. I'm going to go take a little nappy nap. I go take a nap. And like when you're sleeping and you get like an itch and you kind of like jolt to itch because you just like are so sleepy and you just want to go back to sleep, your deep sleep, and like not be interrupted. So that happened. I had a really bad, I'll never forget. It was on this leg. I had a really bad itch like near my ankle, and I jolted in my sleep to like scratch it. And boom, I just felt a gush. And when I tell you, like, I felt like my life flashed before my eyes. Like, I started staring at the ceiling, and I'm like, this is it. I'm having this baby. Like, my water just broke. I had never felt a sensation like that in my life. Like, I just knew. I knew that's what it was. And I was so scared to get up, but I eventually get up, and I kind of, like, waddle to the living room where he's watching the movie. And, like, as I'm walking, there's just more and more of this amniotic fluid coming out. And I get out to the living room. I just look at him. He looks at me, and this puddle all over my pants. And he's like, what the fuck is that? Like, but like in that tone of like, I know what that is, but I want you to tell me what that is because there's no way that is what I think it is. And I was like, and I said to him, well, you can't say you're not a dad now. And he made a joke back. Cause like, that was very much like how we are. We're very comedic people. So like I made that joke and he made a joke back and he goes, you couldn't have waited 20 minutes? It's almost over. And I was like, no, we gotta go. Oh, we go to the hospital. They check everything and they're like, no, you just peed yourself. And at this point, I think I'm in an episode of Pranked because I'm like, I feel like I would know if I peed myself. Like, it's definitely a sensation that I've felt before, and it was nothing like that, and it wasn't even in the same region, you know what I'm saying? So they check the baby, my daughter and everything, and they're like, everything's good, go home, you just peed yourself. I'm like, all right, maybe you know better than me. Maybe, I don't think so, but okay. So, don't think nothing of it. Next day, I'm still like leaking a little bit, but it's just like slowly, right? Next day I go to a party at my daughter's dad's mother's house, and I'm sitting on the chair, and when I get up from the chair, there's another puddle of this fluid, and his mom like looked at me and she was like, are you okay? Like, are you in labor? What is that? And I was like, well, yesterday, and I explained to her, and she's like, no, that's not normal. Like, you need to go back to the hospital. Mind you, this woman's had 5 sons. So I'm gonna trust her that I need to go back to the hospital. So I go back to the hospital. They tell me the same thing. And they're like, no, you just peed yourself. And then they start gaslighting me. They're like, you're a first-time mom. This is normal. You don't know any better. It's okay. But you definitely peed yourself. And I'm just looking like, am I high? Like, there's no way that, like, at this point, I'm getting real irritated, and I'm starting to get concerned. So a couple days goes by, and like in this time, I start having like period cramps. But like, think of the worst cramps you've ever had in your life, and like times that by 10. And so at this point, I'm like, okay, maybe it's Braxton Hicks, but like, I don't know, something just feels really off, and like these feel really intense. And then I started to lose my mucus plug. And the minute I saw it, like, I knew, like, not that I heard the term before, but obviously I never looked up, like, what it looks like. But when you see it, like, you'll know it's that, because it literally looks like snot. So I start to lose that over the course of a few days, and these cramps are just getting worse and worse. And now I know they were not cramps, they were contractions. So I go to the hospital again. And at this point, like, I'm hormonal. I'm 36 weeks pregnant. I'm huge. I have gained 86 pounds in this pregnancy. My feet are swollen. I'm still working, full time. So I go, they check the baby, because at this, I wasn't feeling any fetal movement. Like, I was feeling some fetal movement, but not nearly as much. Like, she used to kick a lot. So, like, at this point, like, I feel her kicking less when I went to the hospital the third time. So that's really what triggered me going to the hospital, and I'm losing my mucus plug. But my main thing was, I was like, she's not kicking as much. Like, I still feel her, so I know she's okay. But, like, I just knew her pattern of, like, when she would kick, how much she would kick. And they tell me the same thing. They're like, you just peed yourself. I said, so 3 times? I snap. I'm like, 3 times now I've peed myself? It's happening all day, all the time. Just sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. But I cannot sit down anywhere without leaving a trail like I'm a snail. They send me home. I start crying. Like, obviously, I'm just like, I feel so powerless in the situation. And I'm just really concerned for my baby. Like, I'm like, if I'm in labor and I'm losing, like, this much fluid, like, if you lose a lot of amniotic fluid, that's what the baby sits in. Like, your baby is in danger. So, like, I'm genuinely just so scared, so concerned. But I knew that I had a prenatal appointment with my OB in a couple days. So, from this point. So, I was like, I'm just going to wait for the OB appointment. She knows me. She's been with me my whole pregnancy. Like, I really trust her. I really loved, speaking of, Dr. Diaz, I really love you. I love you so much. Thank you. Like, honestly, my pregnancy was amazing because of that woman. But, I go see her, and before I could even express my concerns to her, because, like, in the beginning of the appointment, like, they'll take your pee, they drug test you, they check your protein, all that. So she asked me to give her pee in the appointment, and so I get up off of the thing that, like, or the table in doctor's offices, and when I get up, there's a puddle under me, because, again, I can't go anywhere without this, like, puddle. And she looks at me and she's like, what is that? And I was like, well, now that you ask, the main reason I wanted to come today, and a concern I wanted to express to you is, and I told her everything that's happened. I was like, it's happened this day. She's like, so you've been leaking like this for 7 days? And I was like, yes, ma'am. So she checks, my cervix and everything, and she just looks at me and she goes, well, I'll meet you at the hospital. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, you're definitely having this baby today or tomorrow. And when I tell you, me and Lacey's dad, like, that's when it really hit me. I was like, I'm about to be somebody's mom. Like, and I felt like so validated too, because I'm like, I was not crazy. And then I was like panicking because I'm like, is she okay? So then I was, I went to the hospital. They induced me. They gave me epidural. The epidural failed. It caused paralysis. So basically, I did not get to use epidural because it had paralyzed my legs. So when they gave me the epidural, I couldn't lift my legs. I couldn't even push because it had paralyzed me from the waist down. So they had to turn it off completely, which forced me to do natural labor. When I talk about giving birth naturally, it's not to brag. It was not a choice. It was not part of my birth plan. I wanted the drugs. I did. God had other plans. But I was in labor for 2 days, and then my beautiful girl came into the world on day 9 of being in labor. And they told me basically what happened was I had a small leak. It wasn't a full-blown breakage of it, but it was a small leak, and it did cause me, I was in active labor, but it was just a small leak. And they said because I had gestational diabetes, that is the only thing that kept my daughter alive, was that extra amniotic fluid. Because when you have gestational diabetes, you get a lot of extra fluid, you get a lot of water weight, like all of that. If I did not have diabetes, my daughter would have died that day. And yeah, that is my birth story. She was born when I was 36 weeks and 6 days, so she was about 3 weeks early.